welcome back to Right at the Wire. Well, we took a little bit of time off to decompress from the Derby and lick our wounds to a degree. Mystic Dan kind of did a number on us there. But we are back, and now we're ready to take a look at the Preakness. So let's start our analysis by looking at the most prominent contender in the Preakness, and one that we know for sure is going to run, and that is Muth. He is owned by Zidane Racing, and we know they're a high-powered outfit out in California. They don't hesitate to spend money on stock. They had Medina Spirit, who won the Derby a couple years ago, but was then disqualified. Arabian Lion, Arabian Night. So they've usually you can count on Zidane Racing to have some good contenders. Trained by Bob Baffert, of course, we all know the story with him. I got to imagine he's going to be pretty eager to win the Preakness, to snub his nose at Churchill Downs. And he's got his A-rider, Juan Hernandez, so the connections are pretty compelling, to say the least. You see the race record there. He's never been out of the money, no worse than second. And most notably, most recently, the Arkansas Derby, where he didn't show any signs of any problems shipping. He didn't show any problems coming off the bench or run second off the layoff, and looks pretty darn good. So we'll take a look at the pedigree, and we see he's by Good Magic from the Curlin sire line, and not going to be a problem with stamina there. Certainly Good Magic has sired his share of good two-turn horses, so I don't think that's going to be a worry. Hoppa was a lightly raced mare by Uncle Mo, and while Uncle Mo has got some Derby winners, he's not really that much of a stamina sire. You usually see him on top. So broodmare-wise, he's kind of okay, I suppose. Being his grandsire being Indian Charlie, who did do okay in the Derby, I believe, but he was more of a sprinter, miler type, and not a stamina influence. So we look at the conduit mare profile, and you see it's balanced between speed and stamina. But I think having Good Magic as the sire on the top end, I don't think stamina is going to be an issue. I don't worry about stamina as much in the Preakness because it is a shorter distance in the Derby, and I think if a horse can get a mile and an eighth, more often than not, they can gut it out for a mile and 3/16, and I don't think that's going to be a problem for Muth whatsoever. We take a look at Good Magic's get and see most notably Mage, who won the Kentucky Derby last year, Blazing Sevens, who was second in the Preakness, and you see Dornock, Reincarnate, was on the Derby Trail for a while last year. So Good Magic has been a pretty good sire, and you see a lot of black type there, and so again, I don't think it's going to be a problem. And we look and see that Muth is the only foal from this mare, so she's got a pretty good start. We have to keep an eye on her for her get in the future. And so connections look pretty good. Pedigree looks pretty good, to say the least. So we look at the equipages, look at the running lines. Now, one thing that you can see is you do see that progression at 2 years old, 91, 99, 100. You know, a lot of times it'll happen. That Best Pal losing to Prince of Monaco, I mean, he just, you know, it was, this is a two-turn horse. That was a one-turn race. And it's logical coming off the maiden to regress a little bit. So not going to hold that against him. Obviously, he's made up for it. He continued his progression once he got around 2 turns, culminating with the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, where he ran an excellent second. Fierceness freaked that day, and we all know about Fierceness. Came back to start his 3-year-old campaign in the San Vicente, just sort of a tune-up. Won that pretty easily. And, you know, he shipped and put it all together in the Arkansas Derby. So an added benefit is Muth is coming into this race third off the layoff. He has had a bit of time between starts. So that is a little bit of a concern, is that, you know, I probably like the spacing to be a little better, but this horse obviously has quite a bit of quality, so we're not going to worry about that. So let's take a look at the Arkansas Derby to refresh ourselves with Muth. So here's the Arkansas Derby.
And,
Muth is in
we're
the
off
7
to the
hole in the
Arkansas
Zaydan
Derby.
Silks. You can see right
And a
about the
good
middle
break
there.
for all the runners in
And
the
a
race.
little bit
There
of a
was
stumble
roar
at the
from
break, but
crowd as
nothing
they
to worry
left the
about
gate.
too
Time
much.
for
And
Truth up on
you
the
can
pace.
see
He's
he gets
prominent.
right up,
And there's Muth
right
on
behind the
hold
leader,
right
or
now.
right
These
just
two
at the
together
throat
with
latch
one
of
lap to go.
the leader,
Jess Steele
biding
runs
his
in the third
time.
position.
No
Timberlake
excuses
fourth.
at this point.
Scraping
Perfect
paint approaching
position.
the turn on the heels of the leader around the turn. And Form Patriot in the fifth
And you
position.
got Jess Steele rating just off of him, and Timberlake, keen as always, wants to get up there, and he will.
Mystic Dan and Liberal Arts are next. Liberal Arts has to take up here and drops towards the back of the field here. Imperial
this
Gun alongside
sort of becomes a
him.
match
Awkward
race
move
at this
Liberal
point
Arts,
for a little
who's at
while.
the back with Imperial Gun. So they're down the back stretch here.
You see Mystic
Muth
Dan,
on the
number 9,
outside,
back
and
there,
Timberlake,
saving
Flavien
all the
Pratt
ground
lets
on the
him loose
rail.
on the inside, lets it out a notch, and he's the pacemaker down the back stretch. So it is Timberlake, the Rebel winner, in front by a half.
And you see Muth, he's just not
perched
bothered at all,
outside of
just
him,
going
pounding
easily.
from the outside. Jess Steele third. Time for Truth
No
between
sense of
horses.
urgency at all.
Dymatic is down on the inside. Then Informed Patriot will take at the bait and is dropped back. Mystic Dan patiently ridden. He's out of harm's way on the outside. 7 lengths off the pace. Liberal
There he
Arts trying
goes.
to re-rally
Honest
in the
Fractions,
second last
47
spot.
and 2.
Imperial Guns
Got a
at
little
the
bit of a
back,
breather
around
on the
forward
backstretch
turn.
there,
Muth.
112
The
and
challenge
1.
Timberlake, and the race
But
is on
it's
down.
not like he
Muth on
really
the
needed it,
outside,
as you can
strides
see.
level.
When the time came,
Timberlake
he was
back in
more than
second
ready
as
to
Muth
go.
takes
Plenty of
command.
horse.
Muth and Juan Hernandez
And
have
he's
a
put
quarter
Timberlake
mile more to
away
get,
pretty much
and
at this
Hernandez
point.
gives him the cue to go, and Muth off the turn.
Changes
still
leads
in
right
front.
on cue.
Timberlake second. Jess Steele third. Then Mystic
tap
Dan
for
who tries to
encouragement,
rally
get
on.
reminder.
Furlong to go.
And it's over at
Muth.
this point.
Jess Steele running
Jess
huge
Steele
in
ran
second.
huge,
Timberlake
ran a
third.
really big race.
Muth
You
with
see
a
Mystic
16
Dan
to go.
coming
He's
off the
opened up by
rail.
3, and it's
Very
Muth
interesting.
coming
He
down
doesn't
the
do
stretch,
that,
and
as
Hot
we know.
Springs to win it.
And
Muth,
just a
the
very
son of
solid
good magic,
professional win
wins the
for a really
Arkansas
good
Derby.
horse.
Jess Steele second. Mystic Dan third. Timberlake flattens.
So, as we do with all our contenders, we take a look at issues and concerns, and really aren't very many, if any, at all. The time off, maybe, because it's been a little bit of a while from the Arkansas Derby, but he did have a fair amount of time between the San Vicente and the Arkansas Derby, so I don't imagine that will be too much of an issue. Swirl, I just put one trying to find something. We certainly don't know whether he likes Pimlico or not. And then, of course, the controversy that follows Bob Baffert. Maybe there'll be a distraction or two. It is a big day, but we do know he can handle it. Breeders' Cup Day wasn't an issue, so really not much of a problem with Muth. I think he is a prime win candidate for this race. We'll see who ultimately enters it, but you'd have to like his chances an awful lot to give Baffert yet another Preakness.